Hello everybody, and in this lesson I would like to just teach you a little bit about the iceberg model of consciousness. We all know we've got an unconscious mind and the things that we are conscious of. Now if we look at an iceberg is often used as an indication, a visual indication of how we might be able to get it in our own head what the conscious mind does and what the unconscious mind does. And for the sake of the record, it is the little area above the water level is what we would consider our conscious mind. Okay, now our conscious mind, can only hold around about 7 plus or minus 2, so that's about 5 to 7 things in your conscious mind at any one time. Okay, so 7 plus or minus 2. It's about the chunks of information at any one time. Now, if you want to test that, how many things can you hold in your conscious mind? If I was to say, remember these things: 3D goggles, clock, anchor, tape measure, beehive, boardroom, wall, drum, spider's web, shirt, question mark. Now, if I hadn't put those symbols up there, by the time I got to drum, for most people, the 3D glasses and clock would have stopped dropping out the back. And if you fill up your conscious mind, you start getting overwhelmed and things start dropping out. Okay, and we would say that might be just 1% of your brain capability that holds things in your conscious mind. Another way of looking at it might be, use the metaphor of a computer. You know, everything in your brain is sitting down there in the hard drive, yet what you're conscious of is what's up on the screen. Now, below the surface is where we've got the unconscious mind, and everything and every memory that's ever happened to you resides down here. So I'll just get rid of those things from the conscious mind, and let's look what's in the unconscious mind. Now, the unconscious mind is where all of your learned behaviors sit. So for example, I think in an earlier video I spoke about doing your shoelaces up, and at first you had to do it consciously. And when you'd done it 20 or 30 times, it dropped into the unconscious mind. And now you're probably at a time when you can grab your shoes, continue in a conversation, be thinking about something else, because the skill of tying up your shoelaces has now become an unconscious skill. Okay, so everything you know, do, and understand, and that which you're not paying attention to in your conscious mind lies in your unconscious mind. So anything you do, such as your ability to get angry, to drive a car, or even tie up your shoelaces, also lies here. Any skill that you perform automatically without thinking about, such as talking, is located here in the unconscious mind alongside language. Now also stored down here are our memories, mental pictures, like an image of a circus, or your ability to recognize Facebook friends, sounds that you can remember, like your mother's voice or your favorite song, a smell that's familiar, like fresh bread, feelings you've ever experienced, such as jumping in a cold pool. Every memory going back to early childhood also sits here. And there is a space for upcoming events, your bucket list, books you've read, books you want to read, movies that you've watched, and everything you've ever learnt is stored away in this incredible underwater computer we call the brain. Now, habits like smoking, gambling, drug addiction, or abuse of your partner are also stored here. And your brain will continue to activate behaviors like gambling, smoking, drug abuse, until you can show the unconscious mind that there's a better way of achieving what your brain believes the bad habit is doing for you. So this is the task of the hypnotist. So in the practice of hypnotherapy, as a hypnotherapist, what we're trying to do is gain alignment between what the conscious mind does and the unconscious mind does. Now, for example, with smoking, your conscious mind may be aware that smoking is bad for your health, it's expensive, it can make you a bit of a social outcast. But if at the unconscious level, the unconscious believes that smoking is having a benefit, there'll continue to be a clash, and the person who's smoking will continue to have difficulty. The whole job of the unconscious mind or the hypnotherapist is to essentially take your client, put them into a deep trance, but then offer solutions and suggestions which would work better for the person. So in the case of a smoking hypnotherapy session, we're not trying to change the conscious mind. The conscious mind's aware that they should give up. It's the unconscious mind that we start communicating to and suggesting that to continue this behavior is not in the interests of the person or the client, if you like. And if it's not good for the client, it's not good for the unconscious mind. So when we have alignment between the conscious mind and the unconscious mind, we then bring them out of the deep trance, bring them back to a fully alert state so that they can move on. And if we've negotiated well with the unconscious mind, things like cravings and the desire to smoke should pretty much straight away be instantly reduced. Now, where a lot of people go wrong with hypnotherapy is they don't do the follow-up sessions that literally goes over the same neural pathways that we've just created. So the iceberg model of consciousness, it's that tiny little tip that sits out of the water is what we can see. The danger, what the Titanic experienced, the danger is what's under the water. And that's what we need to deal with more often than not. Just plant that seed in your head for now, and we'll move on to the next lesson.